Hola! Today we're talking about the high notes, the big ones, right at the top there.
Don't be afraid of them. Do you want to go into live mode?
If we try and approach high notes with a low larynx, we can often run into a sticky puddle.
Much like anybody trying to keep their mouth closed. What? This is the weirdest shit's ever happened to me. The top of our range could be signified by how much space is between those cartilages, and it's different for everyone. Why don't you try your one with a chin that's down? You go.
That's not pleasant.
We're back.
Yep.
But more reclined in a sense.
You look cash. Got socks on?
I'm feeling pretty.
What socks what are you sporting
feeling pretty
today?
Suave. Sport socks.
Lovely.
Didn't have any more appropriate to the attire, so
Thick
just whack
ones.
them on. It's tennis.
Are these the ones that you get, like, are you at the end of your kind of wash load? Have you got not many left to choose from?
Yeah, I think, and as well, when you buy loads at once, and then they all just die, and you get holes or tear or something.
It's the same as the UK roads.
What, by the time the government have figured out that they're all screwed?
They're all screwed, yeah. Socks and UK roads.
You can't get anywhere, that's the problem. But we are more reclined because we've messed with the camera angles a bit, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
We've pulled this out a little bit. We've got some backlighting.
Let us know what you think of the lighting.
Because they're new, aren't they?
Yeah.
We're happy about that, aren't we?
Yeah. We've a long time coming, that one.
Yeah, long time coming. Not enough funding.
I had to put grainy shots.
But we are here to talk about. It's quite a sexy subject, I think, isn't it? Range extension and range, as in the very top range, which still has, an applicable reason to train it for lots of singers. Not always because you're going to sing them. Sometimes you might, but for whatever reason. But before we get into that, we have music, don't we?
Yeah, a little bit today. Yeah.
Who is it then?
It's Miles Clayton Music, who hit us up on Instagram on one of our posts. That's what happens, you see. If we post, anybody that interacts with us, we fall in love with. Because we're lonely.
Yeah, then it all gets a bit out of control and we have to shut them down. That's the thing, don't they? It all get a bit much.
Yeah. This is it anyway.
We're not going to prattle on about that.
Nope.
We know you don't like it.
milesclayton.bandcamp.com. The EP is called Dream Out Loud. Two brothers doing their thing. Check them out.
Yeah, they've got loads of stuff, I should imagine. Yeah, so moving on from that, we've got a little bit of a recommendation of a product, which we will put links to in the blog post, and I should imagine on the screen right about now. It's a company called In Your Ear, and the CEO, whatever his title is, Steve, got in touch with us a little while ago to trial his brand new product.
Yep.
Which we did, didn't we?
Yep.
And essentially, let's just summarise it as it's a very affordable way of customising your in-ear headphones, your in-ear monitors, if you're not ready to spend whatever it is, $1,000.
Yeah, so again, to rewind a tiny bit, is if you get in-ears that come with, like the Sennheiser ones that we had, they come and it's still just the little buds that you stick in. And obviously a lot of people, the thing that people want when it comes to in-ears is the moulded, because it blocks out noise for one thing, and they fit more comfortably, don't fall out. So that's what everyone's after, but everyone also knows that the moulds come at quite a cost. Quite
a cost, yeah. So the solution that Steve has got, if anybody is interested, the website is inyourear.biz. And essentially we've got ours here, haven't we?
Yep.
These are mine. You can choose your colour.
And the process is, You send these off. You send off your normal headphones, and then he puts this mold material on them in a similar shape to your ear, but obviously you have to mold them yourself so they fit properly, and then you melt them with a hairdryer to get them pliable, and then burn your ears off. No, you don't. It wasn't that bad. There's some instructions there. One way you can burn yourself is obviously like the metal bit that twists around. If you get the Sennheiser ones that twist around, if that gets hot, that can be, a problem. So try and keep it away. Use some pliers, melt it up, stick it in, hold it there for 3 to 5 minutes.
Yep, something like that, and you melt it with a hairdryer. So it's remoldable plastic. Got mine in here. So if I give it a good old tug on the back there, I've got some serious stability. My in-ear monitor is staying in, and the sound isolation is really, really good. So yeah, like Steve said, you just mold it yourself with a hairdryer, leave it in, and then you have this kind of, it's kind of rough looking, but I can tell you it works really well. And don't quote me, I think the website says $75 or $80.
100, yeah, whatever. Yeah,
something like that. So you've got to post it yourself. For that kind of money, he sends it back as an interim for if you plan to get in-ear monitors but not for a year or two, you're going to save up. If you get the regular Shure ones or other types of buds, they can be customised by Steve at inyourear.biz, and we do recommend them. They are pretty cool.
And recommend in-ears in general as well. Like, a lot of people ask me, I don't know about you, but they say, I'm thinking about... I think everyone knows that it's going to be better. But we've had a discussion a lot, haven't we? How much it changes. It's a life changer in ears.
Yes.
If you haven't yet, and I'm sure there'll be people out there that have, loads of people have got in ears, and they probably agree that when you do it, I don't even know how I got by before.
Totally.
Especially if you're singing with bands, the difference is just incredible.
Yeah, you've got a loud drummer behind you. You've got a guitarist's amp blaring in one ear, a bassist in another, and whatever. And sometimes it's so noisy you can't even get any sense of key, right?
Exactly. And not only that, like, it's one of those things where it's accepted that singers go out there and sing with a drummer behind them and a really loud band. It's accepted. You've got to deal with that as a singer, which is fair enough because a lot of people do, because these obviously cost as well. But if you really dial it down, we do all of our I know it's obvious, but we do all of our training nowhere near that kind of situation.
Yes, yeah.
Nowhere near it. So we're never going to be ready for it.
No.
I mean, people that gig a lot, yeah, you're going to get better, but you're still going to be blowing too much air.
Yeah. And let's face it, if you want to pump the sound up a little bit, you want to get a bit more vocal out of the PA, if you don't have to have the monitors busting out your vocal trying to compete with the band on stage, you've got so much less noise on stage. The sound man have a way better time boosting you up without feedback. You just got your in-ears in.
Yep. Happened to me at a big gig over Christmas.
Did it, yeah?
Yeah, and I sing with a female vocalist, and she forgot hers. Well, she didn't actually know that we could bring them, because we had a guy there doing it. And he was wailing all over the place.
Really?
And to the point we had to turn it off, and I was... because we're just in a small place, it was an awful room and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, exactly that. So yeah, I definitely for £450. Is that what they are?
Yeah, the units cost us, I think when we got them, £550 for the transmitter, receiver, and the standard headphones.
$700 or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they can get really expensive. The Sennheiser ones are a bit more expensive. Then you get custom molds. The whole lot's probably going to cost you £2,000 if you go for the custom stuff.
But lifetime of singing, you sing for 10 years, that's £40 a year.
Yep. Nice one. Rationalise, on the spot maths, don't even know if it's right. But we're moving forward, yeah. So that's inyourear.biz. Get yourself along to that, it's really cool. So we're on to range extension. It's a big subject. It's almost the thing that people put at the top of their list every time they come into the studio, isn't it? I want more notes.
Yeah. Thing is though, it's often, especially in the contemporary world, it's attributed to, I want to sing stronger in a certain part of the range.
Yep.
Which is guys E4 up to whatever.
Yeah.
The highest you can go, and then females equally, it'd be like B4 up. Can I sing higher? Can I sing harder, higher? But we today are really talking about the stratosphere, like the deep ends, the higher stuff, and how that can affect the voice, how it can affect your training, and just do you the world of good just to acknowledge it.
Yes, absolutely. So why would we bother in stretching the top? Because there is inevitably going to be some disagreement in the world of teaching. Some people say you should just stay within the traditional limits of your voice. For men, sometimes if you look at the range of a baritone, it might say up to A4. If you're looking at the old school terms, tenor up to C5. Bass is up to E or F. But we know in contemporary singing, that's possibly not going to be, or leave you with a lot of repertoire to be able to sing for a start. And we know that 99.9% of singers' instruments will absolutely work further than that.
Yep.
Whether they need to sing it or not, I guess we need to explore the extremes of the instrument, and this top range is one extreme part of its ability, but we should never neglect the extremes. We just shouldn't live in them, right?
Sure.
Which is one cool thing. So why would we bother in the first place?
I think if we just kind of rattle some benefits very quickly back and forth, then we can dig into the science behind why these things are in a second.
Yeah.
So number one, vocal health. Exploring, as you just kind of mentioned, exploring the extremes will have a positive effect on your vocal health as a singer. And
we'll go into more of that later on with the science stuff. Number two, classical or contemporary. I think you're going to need to put some more miles per hour on the clock, so that you're not in this contemporary age of high demand vocals, that you're not working at your maximum ability. If you can stretch that top a little bit, it can really take the heat off the notes below it. But and that's for contemporary people. Obviously, classical females live their lives up there. The sopranos of the world, the coloraturas, whatever, they're going to super duper high notes. So strategies for them, even though we're dealing a lot with contemporary singers, the top of the range is, let's say, even more crucial for a classical female.
Yep, and equally to add on to that, number three would be belting. If you're a belter or you want to belt, having that facility to reach the capacity of your voice will enable you to belt easier and higher.
And higher, yeah.
No doubt. Number four?
Well, linked to belting, it can be a good strategy to just get you out of chest voice. Let's say because your tendency very much is to either drag the chest register up too high, get a bit yelly in the middle, maybe just the top part of your voice is weak, but either way, get yourself out of a regular habit by going to somewhere that's wildly different to what you're used to, which is, the top of the range.
Nice. 5. It starts with knowing the boundaries of your voice, but it can be a great diagnostic tool.
Right on.
To understand, you'll often hear things up there, or you won't hear anything at all, oftentimes, which will give an indication of if you could before, then you may have something to look at.
Yeah, which is, and we could refer back to Reena Gupta, couldn't we, for that?
Yep.
Previous episode with Dr. Reena Gupta saying, if you lose 3 notes off the top of your range, you've got something possibly to look at.
Yep.
How would you know if you don't go to the top of your range?
Yeah.
So we're kind of screwed with that one. But the last one is, it's just really good sort of showing off technique, isn't it?
The
old
wooing. Whistle. The old whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you do it?
Whistle voice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The world is your audience.
Edit in.
What?
Put the sound in. Yeah, that's it. Smashed it. Nailed it. Innit? Anyway, but it's true. On a ridiculous note, actually, there was a television program a few years ago, and it was all about old singers who used to sing in falsetto, like Frankie Valli.
Yeah.
Like George McRae. Kiss me, baby. What's that one? Do you know the song I mean? Touch me, baby.
Yeah, I know the lyric. Touch me, baby.
You know the one I mean.
Yeah.
So like, I had him on there. I had a few others, And it was scientifically proven that they got more chicks. So
if you want any,
if there's a reason for you guys, then. But no, truthfully, there was something very attractive about a man who would sing in that falsetto, especially in the romantic sense of the word, right?
When they get it right, I mean, Timberlake is the guy now doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And everyone loves that.
Yeah.
You know, Robin Thicke, sexy lover man.
So lover that they said it twice.
Yeah, so much.
Yeah?
He's such a oneer. Yeah. So that's the top half. There's your number 6. Show off as much as you like.
Yeah. So let's help you show off, but we should really go into what the science says, because the science, it's not all about science. It's about doing it. It's about experiencing it.
But we wouldn't know those 6 things that we said, the benefits of, without
a little bit of backing. Absolutely. And then after that, it's worth noting, we'll go into some things that you can do in order to extend that range even more. So into what the science says.
Yeah, so what does the science say? What do the scientists say to back all this up? The CT and the TA, the thyroidnoid and the cricothyroid muscles within the larynx, if we can contract them to their fullest and stretch them to their fullest, likewise relax them, go to the extremes, then like any other joint or muscle in the body, it's proven that that's a good thing in order for its function.
Yes, training the pitch raising muscles. Sort of similar to that as well. The CT is the pitch raising muscle, and its action, the larynx is formed, let's say vaguely, of the 2 cartilages, the thyroid and the cricoid, right? And the thing is, the CTs are on the outside. That they essentially rotate these 2 cartilages towards each other.
Yep.
And that in turn stretches the vocal folds inside, right? For us to raise pitch. Now, we do have an issue with range extension. We need to develop the power in the CTs, but our range could stop, let's say. The top of our range could be signified by how much space is between those cartilages, and it's different for everyone. There's usually enough. There's usually more than we realise, right? But the more space there is between those cartilages, the more they can rotate, which means the more tension they can apply to the vocal folds themselves. And we can compromise that space, but with tension and other things, we can inhibit that process from happening. So you know, the science says that space there, we have to make sure that it's not inhibited, and that we can maximise that space, applying the most tension, getting the most range. So
with all that in mind, it's also been proven that with all of that, that the extremes of the voice range profile,
yes,
how high, how low, how soft and how loud we can sing. If we can explore every different extreme of that, it's proven that people that do that on a regular basis, the longevity of their voice will be a lot more sustained.
Yeah.
You know, and people that don't, it's said that it will deteriorate quicker by not exploring the extremes.
Yeah, and if you happen to be a professional singer or just love it, you'd prefer your voice to not be getting stiffer and deeper, and you know, doing weird things like calcifying or whatever, right?
Yeah,
you don't want that to happen at like 50.
That.
Who wants to be calcified?
No.
It's like being like hit by an X-Man, isn't it? I will calcify you if you're not careful. Be fun, wouldn't it?
I'm not sure.
Would that be fun? Ossify? Mr. What would his name be? The Ossify man.
Your mind.
Mr. O, that'll do it.
Your mind.
Watch out, Mr. O will turn you to bone. Alright? What a fate. Anyway, moving on from that.
I think we should.
There's some very, very interesting research. Again, that's been done by Ingo Tietze. On the development of the vocal ligament. Now, the vocal ligament, just to kind of clear it up for anyone who's not sure of how the process works. So, when the vocal folds stretch out, there's different fibre types in the vocal folds that vibrate and give us sound. In the low notes, the thickness of the vocal folds, it's called the TA muscle, that's in vibration, all's good. When we stretch it out, there's a layer of ligament on the outside, which is able to vibrate. It gets stretched and it comes to tension, and it also contributes to the sound. And as we get really high, the thickness of the vocal fold can't deliver sound anymore. It can't vibrate, it becomes too stiff. So the vocal ligament is the one which delivers us most of our sound, most of our vibration, and we need it to be present, flexible, and let's say developed, right? And it's been researched recently that applying stretching forces to the vocal ligament routinely, like as in daily glissandos up to the very top of the range, the more times you apply the stretch force to the vocal ligament, the more dense the collagen fibers become in the vocal ligament. What that means to us is, if the density of the fibers in that ligament is higher, it's able to reach a higher tension easier. That's just the way materials work. Like, low density materials need to be stretched more, high density materials don't need to be stretched as much. So we will get more sustainable range out of our voice because we have routinely stretched it, and our body's response to that is to increase the density in the vocal folds, i.e. in the vocal ligament. So that's one huge piece of scientific research for sustainable range. It still has more to go, but it kind of sits in line, doesn't it, with many stories, I guess, of voice teachers and voice trainers seeing that sustainable range occur from just spending more time up there.
That's it, more time.
More time. And it's important as well. The research on that one was also a little bit around children. It's really important to get the children not living up there like in choral situations, but to get a child, especially through the break, to get them up to the top of the range so that they do have a well-developed vocal ligament and don't eventually have an all-round deeper voice in future.
I love it, because in English, in reality, you just know instinctively, you go there, it gets stronger.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that gives some back into that.
Yeah, really cool bit of research actually.
Yeah.
You can find it online. I'll put the name of it in the blog post.
And lastly, it may be very straightforward, but again, the larynx positioning itself, extremely helpful for us to develop the flexibility of the larynx, and because we know that it has to move.
Yes, right, for the top notes.
For the top notes,
yeah.
It has to move, and so once again, doing it more often, you're just going to get better at it.
Yes, blimey. So there's the science part, right? So now we need to go into what are you going to do to get there, but actually sometimes it's quite good to start with what you're not going to do.
Yeah,
right.
Especially because you might have some habits of your training or whatever. These are really cool. So link to the last point, the last scientific point there about the larynx, and we need some flexibility in it. If we try and approach high notes with a low larynx, we can often run into a sticky puddle. Which, it's
I hope I never step in a sticky puddle. Oh, what is this?
Yeah, no one wants
the colour? Who knows?
So we're not going to do that. So the larynx, and the reason I think why we say this is because I know I experienced it in the past. The low larynx helps you ascend in pitch, but what it doesn't help you do is to create the sound that we want to create in contemporary music in the higher notes. And so what will happen is that as we know the larynx has to ascend to track that energy, then if we keep that low larynx situation, ooh, 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 ooh.
It's such a strange moment in my life. Yeah, go on.
I just did it.
Yeah, it's great. Brilliant.
Is it?
Go even higher.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love how the chin's pulling down. It's amazing.
Ooh! It's either eyes up or chin down. So yeah, that's not going to work for you.
No.
And so sometimes you get the high notes. And it's like, obviously there is a strategy to get the larynx a little lower, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's there's an optimal placement for it. So that's the first one.
Yeah, and we're talking pitch related there as well, aren't we? Like,
Absolutely.
if it genuinely is your highest pitch, you know, the larynx is going to be pretty darn high.
Yeah.
But not strained.
Yeah.
Just really high.
Essentially, what we're saying is that we have to be in a place as a singer, if we want to sing anything, when the pitch rises, we have to be in a place where our larynx can rise, but without unnecessary tension getting involved, it rising too much, which is the tricky part of singing, and why we do everything we do to train. And that's often the thing that most people run into is that lack of skill.
Yeah.
And precision in that part of the voice. So
yeah, and the word you said, lots of flexibility. If there's tension inhibiting its movement, then it's like effort, isn't it?
Yeah. So we'll look at some larynx moving exercises a bit later on.
Yes. So larynx moving exercises. From there on, you know, it will be different for everyone, and definitely different for all skill levels. And we have to be careful with this one because it's volume related. But if you try and develop the top of your range, the very top, with very low airflow, it's quite often there's going to be an effect that feels a bit like being strangled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the system of your voice and how the vocal folds respond. Like when we stretch them out for such a higher pitch, we can't avoid the fact that they get stiffer. They stiffen up and stiffen up. And stiffer vocal folds are a little bit more difficult to vibrate with airflow. So we have to appropriately respond to that. Now, sometimes people might over-tense their vocal folds, over-tense, squeeze on the larynx, which is going to create stiffness that isn't necessary, right? In which case, that person may feel that you really have to belt the nuts out of the top to make it come out. That's not ideal, right? We could do with trying to get around that. However, we do need to be aware that you go into the extremes, it's not going to sound entirely controlled or entirely wonderful. The volume probably is going to grow a little bit on the last two or three or four notes. So we shouldn't be so scared about that when everyone's like, you've got to keep the same tone and volume. Not in the extremes. It's almost impossible, right? You have to mess around with that airflow and deliver just a little bit more. Maybe that's for you. That's taking just that little bit of a bigger breath, not a gasp, not a welly, but just enough, and enough, like let's say firmness or intent to give that top note just enough airflow and enough volume that it suddenly comes out, pitch on, not flat, actually feels better, even though you've increased the effort behind it a little bit, which is what we need a little bit for those high notes. And the further you get down the line, you'll find as you train more, you're able to hit those really high notes with a lot less pressure. But in the development stages, we've got to turn it up a little bit. Yep. We've got to fit in with how it's working and tailor the airflow up a bit.
Yeah, that's it. It's just, and not to be confused with, oh, Chris has given me the green light to smash it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because there is a balance.
Yeah.
And if you said, it kind of is a good order that we did that. It's the freedom first, and then you can allow yourself a bit more air in order for that to work at the top there.
And that's the really top notes, you know. Yeah. Sometimes we require less air down, much lower than that. But we're talking very top notes, just to be super clear about that.
Yeah. And so what often stops people from experiencing the real high notes is, it's a funny one, but it's lack of experience. It could be a funny way to put it, but it's a catch-22, because we often are shy or nervous about going there. And I see it with some singers. I try and take them, and it's like pulling away, mouth closes, all that stuff. But the way to get around that nervousness and lack of self-efficacy in that moment is to experience it and experience positivity and success in that part of the voice. But the problem is, to get that positivity and success, you have to do it first. So it's one of those real catch-22 situations that we find in a lot of areas of life, which is we have to do it in order to experience the success and then we won't feel as shy about doing what we were just talking about, which is adding more airflow, executing it in a intentful way.
Yeah.
Right. And I know it's a funny thing to say, but the reason why I want to say that is because if people have that knowledge, I often say that in the studio, if you have that knowledge, it gives people the green light to do it. If they know, oh, I'm nervous because I know, and take my word for it, singer, I know that your voice has got the capability to do this. Take my word for it. The reason why you're not at the moment is because you haven't done it enough yet. You're shy and you're nervous about cracking or whatever. But trust me, if we do what we say, get the postures in place, blow the air, you're gonna be fine. And I want to throw that in there because it's an easy one, but it definitely matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the way you talk about it, someone pulling back. That's
exactly.
such a common one because and you say like that means the vowel isn't formed properly, the mouth stays a bit too closed.
That's it.
Has a massive knock-on effect on the larynx positioning, right? And how that needs to respond. If the larynx needs to go up, or essentially the global sense is the tube that you're singing through needs to be shorter, and you're rounding your lips, making it longer, you're screwed. If you pull back in shyness, you're not going to deliver airflow either. So yeah, that whole drawing back from the sound has so many knock-on effects on what is required to discover that. But you must see it as well, where not only is it an insecure place that people don't want to go to, but maybe actually they do go there a little bit and hate the sound.
Yep.
Hate it. Airy, useless, pointless, doesn't sound like Robin Thicke. Whatever, has no emotional value. You hear that so much, and that can make people just despise it and never go there. But nobody can expect the extremes of their voice to sound excellent, can they?
Exactly. First up. And you're just trying to sneak it in lesson after lesson.
Yeah.
Did it again, and funnily enough, 2-3 down the road, you're the love and life.
Yeah.
They sound like Robin Thicke. Everyone sounds like Robin Thicke.
In a way.
You got any others?
Yes. You know what? Tongue position can be crucial for people, depending on their physiology. How much space is in the throat. We're all built differently. But let's say that the larynx needs to go up on the very highest of pitches. We could do with creating some room for it to be able to do that. And one of the big inhibitors, sometimes it can go along with being dopey as well, is that singers, either through tongue tension or just because they do it, hold the tongue in a position that's kind of backwards, back and down, and not forwards and out the way. And if the tongue is back and down like that, it can, in a lot of singers, stop the larynx from being able to take its journey upwards for the very highest pitches, leaving someone quite flat. In which case you'd turn to maybe a lot of airflow to bump up that pitch.
People feel like they're hitting a brick wall.
Yeah.
And although it isn't made of bricks, you're actually hitting. You are hitting a wall.
Yeah, you can really feel it.
Yeah.
So bringing the tongue forwards, which we'll display later in some of these evals and stuff, bringing the tongue forward can be a massive facilitator for that larynx raising. Also, when we bring the tongue forward, we often brighten a sound, and we change the way we resonate. We can set ourselves up for higher pitches a bit more. So not only does it physiologically allow us to find our maximum larynx position, but also it can help us tune into some available resonance for the sake of energy, and we're more efficient the more resonant we are anyway, so it's only going to work out well.
Sure. And I guess the final one that comes to mind is just strain in the rest of the range.
Yeah.
We will often use, and we'll get onto these in a second, but some great diagnostic tools for this. How many notes do I have to work throughout the entire range? If we are running scales like that, or we're singing songs and the lower notes are tighter, or there's unnecessary tension there, and then we fire at the top, we're going to have less chance of making those top notes just because of the residual muscular kind of hangover from down below.
Isn't it? Yeah, coming over that passaggio with a bit of extra tension. It's like you're buckled on the way over. Muscles have already worked too hard, aren't they?
Yep.
And if we
want
those
the larynx
pitch
is probably
raising
compromised, and it's everything really.
Yeah. So that's what we're not going to do, right? We don't want any of that stuff, and also the bodily tension, right? We have to relax. So that's going to be one of the relax the right things, of course. because this is not going to be a relaxed thing to do, singing at the very top of the range. But now we need to get into what to do.
Yeah, so cancelling all of those things we just spoke about out.
Yes. So we have to start at the bottom, right, which is chill out, right? Don't be scared. Be energized, if anything, because this might
Drink some
not go
coffee
well.
if you need it.
Yeah, do some. No, I won't say that actually. I won't do any performing enhancing.
No.
Would it work?
What, pre-workouts or something?
Yeah, something like that. No steroids. Maybe steroids might do it.
Take some steroids. See you later.
But yeah, you got to kind of like accept the chance of things going wrong. So just chill out, right? But first, we need to know really our notes. We need a place to start. So, Taylor, what's your top notes? Where do you know you're going to get to, and you know things are like as normal?
Well, B5 has been pretty consistent for me over the years.
And that's the top.
The top, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I might be able to sneak a flat C some days.
And there's value in that, isn't there?
There is.
Blues.
Yeah, all that stuff. I get involved in that. That's my kind of jam. But on a normal day when I'm singing more kind of straight R&B, it'd be a B. What about you?
I'm interested. What about bad day? You know, you wake up in the morning, you're like, whoa, mama.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it doesn't fluctuate much, because I might have said on a previous episode, I don't really use my voice, if I'm being completely honest, in ways where I mean, again, if I wake up in the morning straight away, then I'm going to be heavy, but you know, after a few hours of being up, then it'd be around there, maybe an A.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really use my voice in a near abusive way.
No.
In order to get tired. Do you know what I mean?
So you're consistently on B5.
Yeah.
Right, cool.
Yeah.
Which is pretty high, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's pretty high.
What
The
about-
result of training.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's, you know, do the right things, you get there, don't you?
Show off.
Ooh, what's
It
yours
is
then?
showing off.
What's yours? Come on.
Yeah, I will get to, with a bit of gusto, I'll get to
Gusto!
B flat. Probably B flat, and with a bit of peer pressure, I
Right.
probably could get a B. But I'll be putting my voice at a lot of risk in that one.
Can I just rewind? I don't. With gusto and peer pressure in the original remit for what we have to use to get to.
All part of it, my boy.
Boy!
All part of it.
Is
Can't
it?
shy away, can we?
Okay.
But I remember in a workshop stood next to Josh Alamu, who literally
Right.
has who can sing E6 anyway.
He's a horrible man.
I did succumb to peer pressure at that time, and as the trainer was going up another step, I should have backed out.
Right.
I should have stopped, but I was like, no, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. And I did make it, and I didn't get a hemorrhage, which is I thought that was a bit of a win.
And Josh is just riffing off them.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So I think I got a personal best stood next to him. But
That's it. It's peer, right. Yeah. Peer pressure.
Yeah. But I have to sit there and go, no point. No. So B flat 5.
Yeah.
Is consistent when I measure my voice in certain ways. It's pretty consistent, B flat 5. So I get up there every day, no matter what. On it, when I've just started out, it'd probably be more like G5, and then.
What is it now?
Well, let's test it. We got to know our notes, people. This is how we do it, right? Get your piano out.
This is how we do.
So we also favorite vowel for me. I'll go there on an E vowel.
All right.
But really open. What about you?
Yeah, it's more like a R. For me, it's scale vowel combination that works. I find starting in the bottom, and this is a great diagnostic tool for this. In that, if you can start at the bottom of your range on an O vowel, and then widen the higher you go. What you're going to do then is negate some of that tension in the bottom. Mm-hmm. You're going to leave that behind, and then you'll be ready to open out into the correct posture at the top. And I find that a very easy one to do. Now, if you're not ready for that, if you're not ready to let go of that tension, or equally, if that O vowel at the bottom there will reduce adduction too much,
yes,
it can give you an idea of what we need to work on from there.
Right on.
Essentially, again, it comes back to knowing the notes first at your current time, and then every now and again checking in with that scale, and and then you consistently make the G5 consistently, and then it's like, okay, so that means everything's smooth. Now what happens if I go to the A flat or the A or the B flat? Do I lose some of that down the bottom? Does it completely screw up my entire instrument getting to that top note? That's why I really like to use this long one, because it really does let us know what the hell's going on. So that's what I would use.
Right on. And yeah, I'm more of a top-down sort of guy. You know, whatever that means. But coming from the top, and down. One reason that could be a diagnostic tool is if, let's say, someone is a bit too connected to the depth in their voice, a bit like, really, really like, maybe holds the larynx down too low or gets a little bit too much purchase in the bottom. Starting up top can really offset that, can really negate that.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe if someone needs a bit of that,
is a pixie boy.
Yeah, then your approach from the bottom may well be a way of diagnosing that as well, that you do need some of that bottom to facilitate the top. So who knows, but it's worth trying out both. Funny enough, I prefer a vowel that brings my tongue forward more than you.
Yep.
Like I said before, but then, you know, like you say, you open it. We've got strategies we can do, haven't we, to get higher up. We have to open the instrument out. We have to shorten our vocal tract. So opening the lips, jaw, and everything else, letting the larynx raise, are our strategies for that. So let's say, take us on your 1.5 octave, did you say?
Yeah. And the thing is, again, when I'm working with people on this, obviously the start matters. So as you just said about both of us choose a lower larynx to begin with that can ascend with pitch, the E and the O. Again, O doesn't necessarily have to be that low. Depending on, again, can we take that adduction through? Mm-hmm. So let's see, can we bring it down tiny bit, a couple first? Let's not go silly.
From the D.
Let me pull this out of the way because it's going to go crazy.
Oh no, sorry, that's...
Yeah, well.
That's just smashed you on an octave. So we're talking, right, from there. Oh no, D, from the D.
Yeah, so.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Nice one.
What was that?
Should we go for a flat C?
Yep. a crap one if you want one. Here we go.
Come on, mate. I'm with you on this one.
Is this the chilling out bit with my head? Is that what I'm doing?
Ah!
So, give me that again.
Definitely a flat C.
Yeah, rubbish one.
Yeah, really, really
Thank
flat.
You. That's what you asked for.
Really flat.
If you would have asked me for a proper one, I would have given you one, but we won't do it now. Let's.
Yeah, the B flat was really pingy. Really pingy. So I'm going to take... I'd often use the vowel, or the consonant G.
Okay.
G, because I feel like it keeps the tongue high.
Yep.
G, so that the larynx has room to raise.
Okay, you're just going straight in, are you?
Well, I'll start on A flat, and I normally put my hand on my face like this.
I know, I've seen you see, like, it's incredible stuff at gigs, like this into the wall, so you can hear yourself.
It does change it for me. Right, so A flat 5. Barely said the G, but
Can
we're
you pull your mic out the way?
Oh yeah, sorry, this is distorting. It's distorting. Right. Right, here we go.
What is that one?
That's at A5. I'm going to need to give that more gusto.
I'm going to say, yeah, that was a rubbish one.
There we go.
Thank you.
There we go.
I've really got that.
Was that a bit of a
Ringy zing
bit of a
zinger.
ringer? I'm going to go, right,
You won't be able to.
it's beyond.
You won't.
This is the peer pressure bit. I got it.
What was
I
that
made
one?
it. B5.
Okay.
But I can feel that getting like, that's going to fatigue me a little bit, right? But we could come down. It's fairly actually low effort to get to the G5 once got to the B5.
Yep.
But you guys might notice that the vowel has to open My tongue, I feel, has to come forward. The volume grows a bit. Like, for instance, try and do your one up to the B5 with very little airflow.
Right.
Okay, less than you gave it. See what happens. Oh, no, sorry, down the octave. Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we get that strangled effect, right? So it's going to be very difficult for us to train some of those top notes. I just wonder if there's any chunder going to come out. It's going to be very difficult for us to train those top notes because we have to respond to the amount of stiffness that the vocal folds are under. And although it's not going to be like amazingly efficient to sing up there, it's still what our instrument is capable of. It's going to an extreme occasionally, but we have to make sure it doesn't strain us. And one of those things is, on the very top, the airflow has to increase. Otherwise, you see what happens. Right? It has to go up there a bit. Much like anybody trying to keep their mouth closed.
Have a go.
I'll try and do that on a... Oh, God. I've
Does it
lost
scare
it
you already?
Yeah. Because you know it's not going to work, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, even like when you're not experienced in why this wouldn't work. I remember back in the day, I just used to think to myself, this ain't going to work. This is not going to work. Oh, I've had it quit. Here we go.
That's so weird.
Oh, God. But it takes so much effort. That was a little bit scoffing, to be honest with you. What? This is the weirdest shit that's ever happened to me. Holy balls. Right. So some of you may be very, very sympathetic to that happening. And that's if you don't open that jaw, if you don't shorten that instrument to resonate higher pitches, you're fucked. Aren't you? It's not going to work.
It's not. That's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's it. The way it is.
Yep. So the volume grows a little bit. The vowel has to open. That's how we get those top notes. Another way to do it, mate, is why don't you try your one with a chin that's down. Okay. Like this.
Oh, do you mean sure?
Yeah. Try and do it like that.
Hurly Merly.
Okay. This is to do with posturing for high notes, right?
I just feel like what it feels like is it's gonna. I feel like they're gonna be like just in my face. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, the pressure's going to hit your eyeballs.
Yeah. Oh, that. I mean that.
The face. Your eyes. Herniating. Go again.
That's not pleasant.
It's not. But chin back up. Go chin back up again. What's the experience?
I mean,
The clearing of the throat is what I got me. I think we may have impaired you slightly.
it's definitely distorted as well.
So chin down is arguably going to work against the larynx being able to come up.
Yeah. So what do we? So we can't stretch for we can't stretch for pitch. So we have to press for pitch.
Yeah, which is a tricky one, right? So, and the thing is about a lot of extrinsic tension that singers feel. It quite often you see people do that, like that.
Yeah.
So the tongue strappers or any muscles around there, they often might pull your chin down. It's not going to facilitate range again. Not going to help you. The mouth posturing again needs to be open.
Yeah, and also the mobility of the larynx, the flexibility of it. So spending some time on some exercises that would help you experience flexibility in the larynx and then making it more mobile. For me, a very, very common exercise is things like nay and knee, those kind of exercises. And there's you come on the back end of one of those in the middle part. This is very direct, but in the middle part of the voice, where people want to sing females, we're talking C5, B4, B flat. Guys, G4, F sharp 4. If you spend some time above that, when you come back down a few more notes to the ones you were just at, because you've had that flexibility in the larynx, it's more mobile to move even in a more adducted state.
Yeah, right.
And that's what it just works every single time. Then you, dependent on the student, but you do that scale that worked the first time.
Yeah.
A few more times, and it starts to not work quite as well. But it shows that working the larynx and showing it that it can move beforehand just does a world of good. Do you have any for the larynx?
It's very similar to you, E.
Sure.
E. Glissandos on E that are quite whiny. Just
Lovely.
spending time like that. Bit of vibrato on there as well. Just spending loads of time on that closed vowel. The larynx is going to raise. It's quite whiny. And yeah, especially doing that a little bit, going on stage for a few songs. And just top notes go mad.
Just to clarify there as well, that you did do that very, very well. In that, for people to try that home, if they are doing what you just did, but do this, it's not the same thing.
No, exactly. We don't want the jaw to move. We don't want it to be rigid, but the point is to not open the vowel because we want the larynx to raise. And by keeping the vowel as E as possible, we require the larynx to raise more, which increases, if we do that for a short time, it increases its mobility. It raises it right up. And then when it comes to those places, it's already kind of ready to go.
And so it may not feel that way to begin with when you first do that. You may be falling off, cracking, breaking, whatever. But that at least it gives you an idea. Okay, my larynx, when isolated, isn't as free as it could be.
Yep.
So again, larynx mobility exercises like that, superb. Any other kind of?
We got one more left, haven't we? One more weird one.
Go on then.
Is bending over at the waist.
Oh yeah, old school.
Old school, which is kind of weird. Do you want to go into live mode?
Let's go into live mode. Should I? Oh, you got a better phone than me, so.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Here you go, mate. So bending over at the waist. I'm sure there's reasons it works that I'm not aware of, but it does take away some of the tension. And it distracts you a little bit from the process of singing. But also, it gives a little bit of zhuzh of airflow. So someone who is a little bit scared of the top and is pulling away from it, this can be a really good exercise.
Psychologically.
So,
hang on a second. You're going to have to get back here because I'm on landscape.
Okay.
So can you get by the door, please? Thank you.
Yeah. So we're talking a bend at the waist like this. Oh, my hamstrings, honestly. Gym yesterday.
Yeah, your hamstrings or your glutes?
Oh, the hammies. Hammies like that. So like this, but we need to coincide that with the top of the scale. So, ooh. So that the very top note is at the lowest point of the swing, and make sure it is a swing. If you've got a bad back, don't worry about it. Ooh. And it's been a bit of a history with that exercise. It actually got me through a particular barrier in my voice, and I found it been effective for a few singers in the past.
Lovely. Thank you.
No worries.
Right, so that's that one then.
So that's where we're at. That's how do we apply it? Well, if we're having trouble with the top notes, we can take one or a couple of those elements and just try them out. Try changing the mouth position, try not giving a shit, try spending a bit of time on a high larynx before you go in. Don't be afraid of a little bit of volume, but you've got to be safe. So if you're really not comfortable with that, I guess you've got to go to a teacher to keep an eye on you.
That's a good one to finish with, because we said about like our direct exercises, like the O and the E for you, top down. But yeah, coaches really they will know. Coaches know what, to some extent, the capacity you've got with your voice. You're exactly the same. When listening to, although the singer can't make it right now, you can hear, and often I sit there and go, I'm not going to do it now because you're going to freak out, and you're going to freak out so much that you're going to stop yourself from doing it. So there's no point, but your voice definitely has it in you to go there. So we need to do some things to make the notes just below a little bit easier to get to.
Yeah.
And then we get to the point where we can explore that. But all round, it's the extreme, as we did the one of the previous episodes on the low notes.
Yep.
Which is 45, 44. The acknowledging it and using it, you will get some profound results. It will change the way you use the rest of the voice. And so there is only benefit to exploring it in the ways that we discussed today.
Absolutely. And we did miss out earlier. There was some research by someone called Wendy LeBon, something like that, where, if you can get to the top of your range like that, you can realise the highest larynx position. Some of the biggest teachers of belt voice in the world would utilise the absolute highest notes, and in females, whistle register, which is where the larynx is incredibly high at that point and the vocal folds are incredibly stretched out, because it is, or can be, a crucial part in training how someone then brings a belt voice exactly an octave down, right? Purely because a belt voice requires the larynx to be raised and raised easily, and linked to pitch, if you like, linked to a harmonic energy or pitch, so it raises with pitch. So that can train that skill for belting. It's really important. I think the other point to make just before we round up is, you spoke about the low voice last time. If you are doing this sort of training and you're going up there a couple times a day, you're increasing the pitch raising muscles. That's great. Some people may carry that amount of pitch raising tension onto the next day and wake up with a larynx position that is resting a little higher. Keep an eye on that. Use the low voice tactics and very low voice training to reset at the end of each day if you happen to be training in this way or using your voice in this way.
Yeah.
Because we can be all about high notes again, but we forget to get back down and use the other extreme as a reset mechanism.
Which is one of the reasons why, if you're a singer and you're singing 5-6 nights a week, I've heard it so many times, singers say, second, third night in, I'm awesome.
Yeah.
And then it goes downhill again. Right? And it's because we spent that time getting ourselves to the top, getting our larynx higher, the first couple of gigs, and then it kind of sitting higher, and then we do exactly what we did the 2 nights before, which takes it even higher, and then it just gets screws up the positioning once more. So resetting, reset. Well, if anybody's got any questions about that, please do get in touch with us. We've got loads of free training coming out soon on the nakedvocalist.com. So if you get yourselves along to there, sign up for the newsletter. You'll see the form at the bottom of the page. Sign up for that. We're filming stuff soon. It's all going to be great. Got so much more coming up this summer. If anybody wants to film themselves finding their high note and send it to us, post it on our Facebook page, we'd love to see it.
I will monitor your progress. Measure your high notes, try some stuff, see if you can get there a little bit every day.
Cooliosos.
Nice one.
We better scram.
We better shoot.
Lovely seeing you all again.
Is that it? Oh, I love that. Such a great episode, and he leaves you with insincerity. See you later.